Hey everybody, this is Mike with On Point Preparedness. Thanks for subbing on over this channel if you came from my main channel. Again, we're going to try to talk about all things preparedness for these last days, and I wanted to start out with this. I've been preparing for a long time. I've got the bug out bag, I've been storing things in my house. I definitely know I've got more than I need for just myself. Now that I'm saved, I know that I'm going to have to take people in. I think that's the whole purpose of this. Shelter people, whether they're through the remnant or basically minister to people that aren't with Christ and try to lead as many people to Christ as possible. But I've been at this for a while, and one of the things that just sort of came to my realization lately, and it's sort of impressed upon my heart, is I've got the bug out bags and I got all that stuff, but I've got 3 kids and a wife and me. And I really came to the stark realization that I don't think I'm going to be able to ride this out in my home. I'm not way out in the wilderness. And even if you are way out in the wilderness, you may be displaced from your home. So if you look at some of the turmoil that's been happening in the East, like in Ukraine and some of the Eastern European nations when they've had civil wars, it's actually sort of counterintuitive. You've had people in the cities be a little bit more safe than those out in the farmland. Now, it's very oppressive in the city. They can't, they don't have food. It's like Orwellian, basically, is what it is. The military has taken seat in a lot of the city areas, and so the people are safer, but they're more oppressed. Everything is controlled. Versus the people in the country, that's where all the military movements are occurring. And so you had people that were way out there and were in the farmlands, but because of the massive military movements, their houses got plundered. A lot of these military soldiers just pillaged their houses and did Lord knows what, take their supplies, hurt women and children and men. So I think we all have to be under the impression that we as the remnant are not going to be safe. There may, in fact, be a time when we're going to have to be fleeing. We're going to have to be mobile. We might actually be on the run for quite some time. Not all of us, but I think it's still good to be prepared for such a thing. So that's really what's been on my heart lately. I just realized with all my family, there's no way I can support them. Even with the skills and the bushcraft that I know, I can't support them with one backpack, because if my wife is carrying my newborn baby and I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, she can't necessarily carry a pack. And so literally one pack on my back for an entire family of 5. You might be able to do it for a little bit of time, but the realist in me is like, you can't. So I found an auction for this cart. It's actually a bicycle cart, a hand cart. It's called Rambo Bikes R180 aluminum bike cart. I got this for $20, but it is on Amazon for, let's see here, $156. So you can see that there. If you look it up on Amazon. Not to say that this is the premier model that you should be looking in, but it was just what was available to me, and I've sort of modified it a little bit better, again, to help me haul things if we needed to be mobile. Now, that is the absolute worst case scenario, that you're on your feet. Ideally, you want to be at home. You want to be bugging in, quote unquote. If you can't do that, hopefully you have your car. If you get stuck in traffic or you run out of gas, the next best thing is maybe you have some bicycles on your car. You can use those. And then last but not least, you're on foot. And the good thing about this is it can be used as a bicycle attachment. That's what it actually was built for. And it can be used as a hand cart. And as a hand cart, it has multiple different purposes. It holds 300 pounds. And so you can haul gear. If someone gets injured, you can haul a person. If you find wild game like deers, you can use it as a cart to haul the carcass. It has lots of different applications here. But again, it holds 300 pounds. And I really got this idea off of this here. There's this company called Amano Walker, and there was a YouTube channel I used to collaborate with. His name is Canadian Prepper, and he sort of became a sponsor for this company. But it's essentially the same premise, a cart that you would have hooked to your backpack, and this one is only on one wheel. and I think it takes about 50% of the weight off of you. And so you can haul an immense more amount of gear than you would just having it on your back. Now, the thing about this thing is like $1,100 US. That is not practical. I mean, it is pretty slick. With the one wheel, it's more highly maneuverable, especially if you're out in the woods and there's thin trails or no trail at all. It definitely has a niche there, but we can't afford that. I mean, maybe some of you can. If you can't afford it, great, go for it. This thing has rave reviews, and I know a lot of people try to do DIYs. You'll see DIY Amano Walkers on YouTube channels. So if you want to pursue that route and maybe try to make one of your own, but the real benefit is it takes 50% of the weight off, and it's highly maneuverable. Now, the bad things about it is it only takes 50% of the weight off, and you could hold more than that. You actually probably need more than that. And so carts, there's a lot of carts out there. There's carts specifically for hunters. You know, I talked about how this could handle a deer. If you look in hunting websites, they sell these things. You can look up bicycle carts and modify them. See, I'm still in the process of modifying this. So these electrical conduit pipes that you see here, I put these on here so that it could hold my panniers from my bicycle. So these are actually full of tons of dehydrated food. And again, without having this here, I wouldn't be able to have those panniers. And so that was a modification that I made. And it was really simple. I just went to Lowe's. I got some 1-inch conduit brackets here so it could hook to the existing frame. I don't have a welder. If I did, that would probably be my primary avenue that I pursue, but I don't have that, and I'm not going to spend the money. So I use that. I just drilled some holes here with some metal rod, and it worked great. You know, it cost me not too much, maybe $40 for both sides. But again, I have a lot more space to haul on this. And when I start piling things onto this cart here, I can get a cargo net and actually strap it from here to here so I can keep everything from bouncing out, or just keep it a lot more secure. I can also put rain ponchos and hook it on each one of these bars so the gear doesn't get wet. But again, this isn't all my gear. You see, this is my backpack that I've got, my bug out bag. That's actually going to be on my back. And then I'm going to probably fill this with, like, this is my medical bag. I'm going to have my communications bag with the ham radio gear. I'm going to have, let's think here, maybe a little bit more food. I'm going to have a much larger shelter. That's the other thing is in my bug out bag and my wife's bag, I have hammocks, and they work really, really well. But if we need to get into a situation of long-term survival out in the woods, it's difficult. It's difficult to live out of a hammock and a tiny little rain tarp. So I'm thinking about having a canvas 5 to 7 person tent here. Trying to figure out one that's cost effective, but maybe like a teepee style, so you can have a fire inside of the tent. Just something to try to make life more pleasant and doable if we were ever to get outside and have to be in a long-term survival situation. But I will be adding, you can see I have these brackets here. They're just 1-inch parallel pipe brackets. I'm going to be putting, similar to what you see on the Amano Walker, I'm going to be putting these sleigh handles there so that I can hold this, and also I'll put some brackets on there so I can attach it to the waistband of my pack to also help take a little bit of weight off the arms. But the great thing about this is it can hold a lot more than the Amano Walker. Again, this holds 300 pounds, and you can add attachments, panniers, which I don't think the Amano Walker had. And the downside to it is well, basically it's on 2 wheels. So it's not as maneuverable through tight spaces as the Amano Walker is. But you know what? The Amano Walker is just not cost effective, just like I said before. And so I think this is something that people can do. This cart, again, I got it at auction for really cheap. It's on Amazon for $159, which is a far cry away from $1,100. But these carts, I mean, I'm sure you could find these on Craigslist. Think not the exact thing here, but look up bicycle carts, look up hunting sleds. I think that's what they're called, for hauling the actual game kill that you get. we all really need to be realistic here. Is if we do bug out, we need more gear than what we can just carry on our backs. Everyone talks about how bug out bags are really, another name for them is 72-hour bags. They're not going to last you forever. Even if you have awesome skills, you might make it out in the woods, but it's just not going to be good. It's going to be survival. And if we have the means to prepare up front and have some different transportation modes, we can increase our chances. So I think I showed you, all the pictures here. I did take a video, if I can find that, and I'll show you just me walking around the cart here. Here it is. So again, this is where all my attention is right now. The other thing, I can put extra ammo on here. I know not every Christian believes in having a weapon. That's a personal choice. Christians are divided on the issue. I know almost every single church in the area, the pastors and members of the church are having concealed carry because of all the shootings. The Bible does not forbid self-defense. We are to be as peaceful as doves. But personally, if there is going to be someone that is looking to kill my family, maim my family, I'm going to take the actions necessary to defend them. Again, last resort, but I will defend my family. So, I'd have extra ammo, guns, whatever I can possibly fit on here that I couldn't do alone just with my backpack. So I really encourage you all to think of, if you had to bug out, would what's on your back sustain you? And it might be. It might be, especially if you have a place to go to. That's one of the things is I have a couple places I might be able to go to, but I really don't have anything firm. And so it's just not going to work for me just to have this on my back. Now, if you've got a friend or family and they have a house out in the wilderness and this pack can last you the travels to there, then that's fine. You may not need this cart, but personally, I would add it into your tiered approach. Again, staying at home is first, being in the car is second. Third is maybe being on a bicycle and having this bicycle attachment. But if you have to ditch your bicycle, I'd say have your sled and have yourself. And then if it even gets bad enough that, perhaps you're being chased or perhaps like it's stuck in mud and it's irretrievable, you can still ditch the sled and have what's on your back. Again, we try to carry as much as we can with us and start shedding the layers as it gets more difficult. But we just want to be able to have the potential there. If you guys are all new to, prepping and bugging out, if you go on my website and it's just simply onpointpreparedness.net, I do have a lot of, survival articles. So I've split them up into things like alternative energy, bushcraft, comms, firearm tactics, finances, gardening. You'll see a little bit in each one of these. And one of them that I want to call your attention to is building your own bug out bag. I probably need to update this because it's been a while. But I give you some ideas on what you need to do and what a bug out bag should weigh. Like it's only going to be 25 to 30% of your weight. But you can see here I have things set up in a meaningful way. You really need to think about your bug out bag and your supplies in terms of these categories, like air filtration, shelter, water, fire, food, tools, security, travel planning, like maps and compasses, communication, medical hygiene, psychological things, caffeine tablets. You're going to be exhausted. I've really put a lot of effort into thinking about all the different categories, and you can fill in, what is meaningful to you in each one of these. I've given you some ideas here. It's not to say that, this is what you need. It's all dependent on our own budgets and how much money we want to spend on this, but it's going to give you some ideas, and I hope this helps. Now, for future videos, again, I just wanted to show you, what's pressing upon my heart. The fact that I can't do this just with a backpack on my back and I needed other means. I hope you think about your own individual situation and how you would be mobile if that time called for it. But in the future, again, what I'm going to do is try to make this channel a little bit user-friendly for new preppers. And what it's going to entail is I'm going to shift a lot of my old videos from the main On Point Preparedness channel to here. I'm going to put them in playlists perhaps on skill level, and just try to help you get started and not be overwhelmed. Again, I am a saved Christian. Our focus should be spiritual preparedness. And with that, I just want to tell you that in my experience, doing all this physical preparedness, I learned very quickly, I had the money and the means and the knowledge and the time to accumulate a lot of this stuff and to read and learn books. And one of the things I learned out of all of this is there's too much. There's too much. I want to be the most proficient shooter. I want to be the most proficient person at starting fires by hand and fishing and hunting and communication gear and understanding ham radios and how to set things up and water filtration. There's all these different topics, and you try to learn them all, and knowledge is a decayable skill. And I started realizing that all my skills were decaying, and there was absolutely no way that I could be a godly father and take care of my family and my wife and, spend equal amounts of time. I'd be spending way too much time trying to hone my skills of preparedness rather than spending time with my family, which is more important. And so at the end of the day, prepare as best as you can. Heed the word. Get ready. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't spend too much time on this, because again, you only have so much time and you can't do this on yourself. You really need to rely on God. Just be obedient. If he's telling you to prepare, do so. Let him handle the rest. Don't get stressed out thinking that, I'm not training enough with my pistol. I'm not having exercise. I'm not exercising enough. Am I even going to be able to haul this cart in this bag? There's so many things that you would need to focus on to be solely self-sufficient, and we just can't do it all. We just can't. And so that's why spiritual preparedness is the utmost importance. So anyways, I hope this helped. I hope it gets you thinking about some things. Again, go to onpointpreparedness.net if you need some tips, or maybe you've already got a bag and you want to see maybe a couple new ideas. I'll put this link in the YouTube description box, and look forward to the next video with you all. This is Mike on Point Preparedness. See you.